Hey guys, so I recently went to BookCon and I thought I'd share my experience from beginning. So we're talking buying the tickets and leading up to BookCon to the actual event. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, guys, so from the beginning, I have my cute little notebook here to be able to really dive in so I don't miss anything. So from the beginning, we are talking pre-con. So from the beginning, buying the tickets. Buying the tickets, I did buy my tickets the first run. I didn't do it the second run when they sold out and then they decided to sell more tickets. So I bought my tickets the first run, the first go around, and I didn't have any issues. I actually forgot to buy my tickets immediately. I bought my tickets probably like a few minutes into them selling them, and they didn't sell them out like within the first 10 seconds. I do remember that. I couldn't find the email. I was trying to find the receipts. I couldn't find the email for when I like got the confirmation because I've recently gone through my email to delete a bunch of things. So I apparently deleted that email. But I do remember buying my tickets probably like a few minutes into the sale. So I do remember not stressing about buying the tickets and not having an issue. So thus the whole process was pretty seamless for me. I ended up buying the VIP tickets which were about $400. And going to that, I'll dive into if they were worth it a little later on in the video, but buying the tickets specifically, not too bad, at least for the first run. I can't really say about the second runs selling of tickets because that wasn't my experience. Moving on to reservations. Now, with reservations, I know people had a really rough go with reservations, um, really rough time all around. For me specifically, I kind of went in with, well, I'm sure everyone had a plan with the reservations. I know I had spreadsheets on spreadsheets on spreadsheets on spreadsheets. But I specifically went in with kind of this idea that I would love to get everything that I planned for, but I'm not going to be completely bummed if I don't get anything that I wanted. Purely just because I'm just going in for the vibes. I'm going in for the vibes. This would be my first ever bookish event, and I'm just going for fun. So if I don't get anything that I want, yes, I'll be bummed, but it is what it is. This is coming from my own experience of trying to get like the big San Diego Comic-Con tickets, like 6 years in a row, being put into a queue and not being able to get those tickets at all. So that's like my headspace where I was coming from. So going in and getting anything was like bless. So going into with that kind of like outlook, I was perfectly fine with what I was getting. So yeah, so I got in early because I'm VIP. Like I said, I bought VIP tickets, so I got to be able to get reservations before general ticket holders. So it was premium and VIP. We got to get our reservations early. And I did manage to snag two of the panels that I really wanted. The only two panels that I absolutely wanted, it was a horror panel and the game-changing panel with Rachel Reed and Jacob Tierney. Those were the two panels I absolutely wanted. So seeing those panels still available, I was ecstatic. Granted, I also wanted a Carissa Broadbent signing, Rachel Reed signing, and Tanana Reeve Dew signing. And unfortunately, the Tanana Reeve Dew signing I wanted was the only one that was available, which was a bummer because I really wanted that Rachel Reed signing, but I didn't get it. So it is what it is. Like I said, I went in with this with the thoughts that I wasn't going to get anything. So getting even three things, I was ecstatic. So yeah, again, that was not everyone's experience. Some people didn't get anything, and you know that's a real bummer, and people were really upset about that. Me, again, I wasn't upset at all because I did end up getting those three things. But if I didn't get anything, I still would have been fine, because I went in thinking it's fine if I don't get anything. Even being a VIP, that's my outlook. Again, because my experience with San Diego Comic-Con, not being able to get any like tickets or anything, you know, that's just my own personal experience. Um, but I also was at an advantage because I work from home. So I was able to get into the queue pretty much on time, because they did the reservation drop, like in the middle of the day on a Tuesday, which that was a choice on BookCon, as a whole, because a lot of people work on Tuesdays in the middle of the day. I think it was like 11 a.m. or noon or something. I think it was like 11 a.m. Eastern time or something like that. Um, yeah, that's an odd time to do it. Like they could have done it on like a Saturday or something, but they chose to do it on a Tuesday in the middle of a work week. So that was a choice on them. But yeah, I'm thankful enough to work from home, so I didn't that wasn't really a problem for me. So reservations, yeah, that wasn't really an issue for me as well. Next up, we have the BookCon app. This is where things kind of took a bit of a turn for me. The BookCon app. This was a new thing for them, and personally for me, I've actually been dabbling in app development, and I do know the routes you can take to build an app, and I know the route they did take, just from my experience with their customer service. So when let's say like about a week and a half into like going up to BookCon itself, the event, I realized looking at my reservations that only the game changing panel was in my reservations. So I reached out to their customer service and I was like, hey, only one panel is showing up. I was like double checking my reservations on the website to make sure. I was like, do I not have these reservations in my thing? I was like freaking out. And they're like, hey, yeah, we've confirmed you do have these reservations. Um, why don't you delete the app, re-download it, and relink your ticket? That should fix the problem. And I said, okay. I did what they asked, and lo and behold, not only did I do that, but like then my game changing panel disappeared. And so now I don't have any of my reservations on my BookCon app. So now I'm more freaked out. So I'm waiting for customer service to get back to me, and now I have less than a week until BookCon is here. And I guess this was an issue that was happening with more people. And yeah, just a few days before BookCon itself was coming up, was there, they reached out to me saying that, oh, they fixed the problem for Android users. They had an update for them. And as I am an iPhone user, that didn't really help me. So even during the event, those reservations did not pop up, which I learned that if I wanted a guest for any of those reservations, I like that's something I could have fixed through the app. But as those reservations did not pop up in my app, that would have, yeah, couldn't fix those in the reservations. Something I couldn't do in the app. So something I would have liked to have fixed in the app. So that was irritating. I had to use the confirmation email in that was sent to me when I made the reservations, the day that the reservations were made. So that was kind of anxiety ridden for me when I was actually at the event. I was worried that the like QR code wasn't gonna work for some reason. That's just my anxiety brain. But yeah, that gave me unnecessary anxiety because the BookCon app, because they waited till the very last minute for them to release this BookCon app. And I think if you're going to make an app for your event, I think you need to have this app in the works before you decide to do this event and have an app attached. That's my personal opinion if you're going to have so much writing on this app. Just saying. Yeah, I think if you're going to have, like, if you're going to introduce an app to your event, have that be in the works before, you know, you're reintroducing the event. And have it done out in the world 6 months before the event happens, so you can work out all the kinks, so when the event is in effect, the app is good. It's good. You might have a few bug fixes, but in all, it's set, because introducing the app weeks before the event is not the way to go. But that's just my 2 cents. Could have saved me some anxiety, but here we are. Anyways, moving on to the actual event itself. Now, the event itself, I'm sure if you've heard any videos about BookCon, you've probably heard that it was rather disorganized, and I can attest, it was rather disorganized. Now, me being a VIP, like I've said, I got to skip the lines, which was super nice, because I did hear that it was blocks long, and I did see when I got there, because I did get there a little later than everyone else. I did drive to BookCon. I live in Illinois, so I did drive to New York, which was about 12 and a half hours of a drive. And so driving to the event itself, my hotel was in Jersey City, which was about a 20-minute drive to the event. And I got there probably around, I'd say about 8-ish, 8:30-ish. But I got to skip that very, very long line, and basically wait in maybe a 15-20 minute line to get into the event itself. So I didn't really have to wait all that long, which is honestly, yeah, that was nice. I will say, being VIP, for that reason alone, VIP was really nice, and I think that was the main reason I got the VIP ticket, was because I didn't want to have to wait in an egregiously long line. But anyways, getting through the line, and this is where the disorganization kind of started, because once I got through that line, it kind of got a little chaotic, because I was pointed in many different directions from the moment I stepped in that building, because you got in through there's like, you got through, and then there's still a few lines, and then there's people pointing you in different directions, and I just didn't know where to get my VIP bracelet, which I think I have. Yeah, VIP bracelet, have it on hand. And from there, I just didn't know where to go. I was looking for, what was it called? I wanted to get a wristband and a few pamphlets. There was a boarding pass, I've written down, boarding pass for source books that was, quote, I could get from, quote, the BookCon info booth. And I was trying to find this BookCon info booth, and I had asked 3 different people where I could find this BookCon info booth. No one could point me in the right direction. No one. And I was like getting so frustrated, because I was trying to find it before the masses came in, before the general ticket holders got inside. And I couldn't find it. I could not find it. And people were like, oh, well, you could probably, since you're VIP, you could probably find it. They'll probably have more information in the VIP lounge. They didn't. They gave me my BookCon VIP tote bag, and I waited in line for that, wasted time doing that. And by the time I found the BookCon info booth, which was at the Sourcebooks booth itself, lines had been formed, and I was already behind. I was so irritated and frustrated because no one knew anything. No information was held by anyone who was working there. I just was so irritated. So I was just put behind because I don't feel like anyone knew what they were doing who worked there, at least at the job center, who had an actual BookCon shirt on. Um, yeah, it was just completely disorganized, and it made me feel behind, even though I had, like I said, spreadsheets on spreadsheets on spreadsheets on spreadsheets. I still was underprepared because I expected the people who were working the con to know what they were doing and to have the information that I needed, but I guess that was too much to ask for. So yeah, that put me behind, and it is what it is at this point. I did manage to get the source books, what was it? The source books boarding pass, and I was able to do that. And I did manage to get the wristband for, I think it was Penguin Random House, which is what I was after that first day, but I did manage to get to the second day. I couldn't get it the first day because the line was crazy by the time I managed to find it. Because I had to go to a panel that first day. That's why I was trying to get to it as quick as possible, but couldn't manage that with the lack of information everyone held. But it is what it is. Anyways, moving on from that, I think that besides the disorganization, there was just poor planning in its entirety. I wanted to do, the fun events, especially towards the end of the first night, the first day. There was this fun book bedazzling thing I really wanted to do. I showed up 5 minutes early to the event, which I was more like 5 to 10 minutes early to the event, which you think would be fine. You think would be fine. But no, by the time I showed up, not only did the event already start, there was no tables available to sit down. All of the tables had been filled, and there was maybe 20 tables max, and you would think there would be more tables for an event this size, like the size of the BookCon itself. Do you think that they would have more tables for like more people to show up? But no, there was max 20 tables, and for each table maybe 5 people could like sit down. So what is that math?
Y'all, I'm sleep deprived. I promise I can do basic math.
Like 120 times 5. Don't ask me to do math right now. There's a lot. There's not that many. It was like 100. 100. That sounds right. 100. 100 or so people for size, an event this size. An event this size. 100 people to do this cute little event. Like, that's crazy. That's so small. So I was yeah, I was upset because I wanted to do that event, and I bought a book specifically to do this bedazzling event, and I couldn't do this event. Yeah, I was upset because I couldn't do this event, and I showed up early and couldn't participate. So poor planning, because they just didn't have the necessary tables and space to handle this event. And not only that, the next event that I went to, which was bookish bingo, most of us sat on the floor. We were able to participate because they didn't actually hand out like physical cards. It was like all on our phones, and it wasn't bookish, it was musical bingo. It was like they played a song, and instead of numbers, it was like names of songs on the bingo cards. And if the song that was on the card played, then that's what you marked off. So nothing bookish about it. The things that they had, like they handed out, like the prizes, I guess, were bookish. I wouldn't know. I didn't win. But I was like, what is this? Okay, bookish. Bookish bingo? No. So poor planning on that. And then there was a lot of technical difficulties with that in itself, because a lot of people couldn't play because their phones were not hooked up, like they couldn't attach to it. So it just a lot of that. It just, yeah, just poor planning on that. Disorganization, it falls back on that as well. So yeah, I didn't love that. And then moving on to the whole arc situation, which if you've seen any videos in regards to um, BookCon, you know that the arcs were messy. um, if you showed up on time to any of the arc drops, you weren't getting an arc. You absolutely were not getting an arc. You had to show up 30 minutes to an hour before the arc drops to have a chance to get an arc, because people were ravenous for arcs, and I really don't think all of them wanted to get the specific arc. They just wanted a free book for a lot of the time. Um, yeah, it was outrageous. I did manage to snag a few arcs, but that was pure luck, in all honesty. I did have to show up, like I said, 30 minutes. I showed up, I think, 30 minutes to 45 minutes early for some of them. And some of them, I think, like, when I say luck, there was, I think it was Simon and Schuster. Yeah, it was Simon and Schuster. They they had a line, they did lines and for their arc drops, but the way they handed out their arcs is that they had like raffle tickets. So you stood in a line, and then they come up and they hand out raffle tickets to the lines, but when they came up, people would come from their line and gather to the people handing out raffles. So the line really didn't matter. And the people handing out the raffle tickets, the people from Simon and Schuster, they wouldn't really pay attention to the line. They would just kind of hand out randomly to the people who were in the line. And if you happen to grab a ticket from them because they just happen to put one in your hand, then bam, you have an arc. So it really just happens. Like, luck really just has to be on your side. So yeah, I just happened to get a few arcs because I happened to be there and be lucky. Like, it just, yeah, boils down to that. Or if I also got a couple of arcs because some of the publishers had like a deal going on. So like I got a couple of arcs because like Sourcebooks is like buy a book, get an arc type of thing. Or HarperCollins did like buy one get one, and if you did that deal, then you also got an arc type of thing. So yeah, like that was the thing. But the people who did do like the arc drops and like were in line, some of them were really aggressive, and those like arc drops were like really claustrophobic because people were really packed in there like sardines. And I don't know how you can combat that. Some people were like, some people, I don't even know, like you could do like truly random arc drops, like where you just put like your arcs on the table, but I feel like maybe that could create some type of like stampede effect. So I don't know if that would even help you for publishers. Or you could do like I think it was Sourcebooks that did like a QR code where you could send out text messages to like do like crowd control in that matter, or like I don't know, but like the way they did it just wasn't the way because the amount, it felt like a mosh pit. It felt like it was like at a concert with the amount of people who were just packed in there. I just couldn't breathe. So yeah, the arcs, the way those were going, it just was not it. I didn't love those arc drops. It was just, I was not having a good time for those. Um, but I've been talking a lot of negative right now, but let's move on to some positives. So the panels themselves, I loved the panels. Those were the bread and butter. Those were the belle of the ball. I loved all of the panels that I went to. A good majority of the panels were moderated by like the authors, like authors within the like the genres that were doing the panels, with these. Well, the first panel I went to, the game changing panel, that moderator, she was fantastic. She wasn't an author, but she did a wonderful job. But the other two panels that I went to, I went to like a hockey romance panel and a horror panel, and the two moderators for those. They were both authors in those genres, and I think they created some insightful questions for those. And so did the game changing panel. She did really great job. She was like a journalist. She also had some really insightful questions. They all did a fantastic job with moderating those panels. I think the panels in itself were just so well done. I think if I had just like BookCon only panels, I think I would have had a wonderful time. But I loved the panels. I loved doing the signings. I mean, I went to a MB Wright signing for Land of Wolves Revelations at the Bookish Box. That one I didn't need a reservation for, blessed be. And then I did the Tanana Reeve do signing for the Reformatory because I absolutely love that book. And yeah, I thought they were very sweet, very nice people. So loved the signings. The authors are always super nice people, and yeah, great times. And then Indie Alley, I love the whole aspect of Indie Alley because those are some great shops, the local shops I never would have known about had I not, strolled through those shops. And there's some really cute, like, local shops that I got some cards for that I'll definitely be buying from, in the future. So I got to really explore that aspect of, the bookish space. So I loved Indie Alley, and then getting to see, indie authors as well, getting to pick up some books and getting to talk with them, the indie authors that I probably wouldn't, well, maybe eventually get to see coming through my own like Kindle or Kobo, or come seeing them through that type of book space, but to get to converse with them in person was like a different experience. So getting to see that in person was a lot of fun. So Indie Alley was a lot of great times, so yeah, so that in itself was a whole other world. Indie Alley was great, and I got a lot of bookish goodies doing that. And yeah, I love to support local, even though I can't very often from where I live. It's very suburban and not very close to the cities. But if I can support local, I'd love to do it. So getting to be able to through Indie Alley was fantastic for me. Yeah, it was great. But moving on from that as a whole, that was my BookCon experience, and it had its ups and downs. It certainly had its ups and its downs. Yeah. Um, Being a VIP, like I said, I think I said I spent $400 on that ticket, and having that ticket definitely had its positives. Um, Being able to skip the line was definitely a positive. I know people spent, I don't know how long, but I know at least an hour trying to get into the convention center. I don't know how much longer they spent in the line, but I know some people were getting there early because they knew the lines were going to be long. So getting to skip that line and not having to wait or even get up super early and having to worry about that definitely was like a big positive. I didn't have to worry about checking my bag and having to pay a fee because it came with free bag check, and I definitely used that multiple times. I was in and out of bag check constantly because I was adding things to my bag and checking it back in there because my bags were getting heavy, as you can imagine, with adding books. Books are heavy. So being able to check my bag in and out without any fees was cream of the crop, chef's kiss. So I loved having that perk as a VIP. That was fantastic. Other than that, I mean, I guess the reservations was nice, being able to reserve sooner than everyone else, being able to get that game-changing panel was nice. Um, but yeah, I guess those three things were the best. I mean, I could have done without the the BookCon tote. I mean, it was nice, but the things that came in the BookCon tote I could have lived without. I got like 2 free books, but it was like a graphic novel I didn't really care for, and then um, like a romance book, but I don't really know anything about that author, nor do I know anything about that book. So it's like, sure, it's gonna be on my TBR forever. Honestly, it's gonna be on the bottom for it because there's so many other books I would rather read. So, and then it's like a cup, and then a couple of other small things that you know. So I mean, for those 3 things, I don't know if $400 is worth it. Maybe if they knock down the price $100, then sure. um, but yeah, I don't know, $400, but $300 maybe. Yeah, yeah. I think the premium VIP, the $1,000, certainly not worth it. Don't spend your money. $1,000, absolutely not. No. But the $400, I don't think. Maybe if they knocked it down to $300, I think it would definitely be worth it. But $400 seems a bit steep. Seems a bit steep. Was it nice? Absolutely, to be able to do those 3 things I said. But I don't know, $400 still seems a bit steep for, yeah. Yeah. And BookCon as a whole, would I go back? I wouldn't go back next year. I might go back in a few years from now. I need them to work out the kinks in their whole processes, get better communication, figure out, their whole process, better just like organization, get better planning, fix their app, just work out the kinks as a whole before I go back. Because yeah, what happened this year, I don't want to deal with that again ever. So I would need them to work out all of those kinks before I even consider going back. So yeah, yeah. BookCon next year for me? No, it's gonna be a no for me. But not a never again. It's definitely a possibility for me, just not a next year. No. But yeah, guys, that is it. Those are all the things. I hope this video has mentally prepared you for BookCons to come. Yeah, maybe it's dissuaded you or persuaded you to do BookCon for next year or the years to come. But yeah, that is it, guys. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, read on, my bookish friends.